Baby Beard Media. Shut up and take my podcast.
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 Stereotypes.
The foreigner. My customs are different. Upwards inflections. Australian.
Your beer belly is so big, your door doesn't even close, and that doesn't even make sense.
The sentence ends well with, I got advice from Nixon.
We're a G-rated.
This is a problem. Are we? Futurama podcast.
Trademark. License. Copyright.
Don't say those words.
Shut up and take my podcast.
Oh, that was nice.
It's the Anthology of Interest guy.
Oh, yes.
I was trying to.
Shut up and take my podcast.
That would have been a lot better.
This is kind of the 60s TV announcer.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast at Futurama Podcast, where we look at everything from Amy to Zoidberg.
Hey.
Succinct, simple, sweet.
It's like Amy to Bender. That's A and B.
Yeah,
we're not very thorough.
Yeah, last time we messed
Bender
it
to
up.
Zoidberg. So that's B to Z.
Yeah, we missed A.
We sort of came up with it on the fly.
Yeah.
On the fry.
My name is
banter.
Sean, and I'm here with Phil.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
And this week we're doing a very special episode. It's basically Futurama's Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
Anthology of Interest 1. They actually
Volume
called
one.
it 1 at that point, so
Oh,
they
really?
had every intention of doing another one.
Did they?
They did one other. They did
Yeah,
Anthology of Interest 2 and then just never again.
Maybe the format doesn't work as well as it does in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I mean,
it's good. I mean, I like it.
It's interesting because with Simpsons, they're obviously doing it so that they can do outlandish stories
Yeah, and
outside
you-
of canon.
You can kind of do that already.
Yeah, with Futurama, it's like you're already sci-fi
I reckon they could have had a legit reason for a 500-foot bender.
and a back-in-time story for Fry. What if he never did it?
Yeah.
I mean, to say
I
that,
mean, the characters they use in that, they go a bit crazy. The characters they
yeah.
use.
I mean, maybe the Leela murder thing, but like when Bender makes a giant statue of himself as a pharaoh, that's kind of
almost there,
that's a bigger than 50-foot Bender.
Is that from My Three Sons, or is that... No, that's a later episode, isn't it?
Yes, it's
So we
when they
haven't
go
come
on
up
the
to it.
Pharaoh planet and Bender edges himself into the hieroglyphs as their new pharaoh.
Oh, that's right.
And he becomes like their all-seeing leader, and everyone gets really sick of him.
So this is 3 different stories. Directors for all the segments is Chris Loudon, back from Put Your Head on My Shoulders. He was the visual effects assistant. James, you know this movie. Executive Decision.
Oh, really? With Kurt Russell and Steven...
Yeah.
Not Steven Seagal.
Yep.
Wait, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, because Steven Seagal, it came in as this action character. He gets killed off, and everyone's like,
Oh, that's a turn.
yeah, so it's a nice little twist.
And,
I love Kurt Russell. I'm surprised I haven't seen that.
and for Scooby-Doo, the movie.
The first one?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, he's only doing the visual effects. He wasn't responsible for writing or creating
okay.
it.
Yeah.
So
The executive visual effects assistant.
titles are crazy.
And also Rich Moore again, so Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, that guy's ace.
I don't think I mentioned this, but you know he's actually back to do Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Which would
yes,
be-
they're making a sequel.
Yeah,
of course.
Ralph breaks the internet. So they're just taking it to online gaming now.
Sure,
basically, is the way
and
they're
they'll
gonna
do
be.
all the online gaming
And then,
tropes.
like, Wreck-It Ralph 3, the memes.
Yeah, for sure. He like breaks
course.
Reddit or 4chan or something.
Yeah.
Crossed with the emoji
Goes
movie.
into Tumblr and... Yeah, crossover. Surely. When's Sony's releasing the meme movie?
I feel like that evolution's like a good idea though. Like
Yeah.
retro gaming to like modern gaming and competitive
Natural
online
progression.
gaming.
And
Yeah,
people
it
go
makes
with
sense.
it. And considering the amount of properties they got on board last time for retro gaming.
Yeah, it was true actually. They did really well.
Bowser, and that's all I got.
Yeah, getting just getting Nintendo on board is pretty good coup, right?
So I don't know who they'd get. Who would you want to see?
Wreck-It Ralph and Call of Duty.
Call of Duty's got to be there. I mean, they already
Battleground?
Yeah, Battlegrounds. It's a bit new for it to work, but
maybe
they already did Halo, really.
Yeah.
didn't they? So
with Jane Lynch's character.
Yes.
Yeah.
missed a few teabagging jokes, maybe a bit over the heads of
A bit much
young
for
kids. Counter Strike, got to be in Counter Strike.
Yeah.
Are there any like good online games that aren't
Violent
shooters?
No. Maybe this would be the first R-rated Disney Disney Pixar film.
Maybe
Our
I don't know.
movies
Maybe
are in.
GTA Online,
Oh,
Forza.
GTA would be nice. Yeah.
They'll probably do like some
Forza
sort of
or something.
GTA type. Like he'll just hijack a car.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just won't
something
have
like
the
that.
prostitutes and guns and things like that.
Yeah. Anyway, what are
yeah.
we talking about?
So the writers, so the way the writers work is that there's a different writer for each segment. So we got Terra at 500 feet, which is Eric Rogers, who usually writes for the comics. Ken Keeler, back for Dial L for Leela, and David X. Cohen for the Unfreeze of a Lifetime. And the air date is May 21st, 2000. Introducing so many people.
Yeah.
Al Gore, Stephen Hawking, Gary Gygax, who was the co-creator of Dungeons and Dragons, Nichelle Nichols,
who are
Uhura and Star Trek.
wearing her uniform from
Yes.
Star Trek.
All voiced by those people.
That's great. Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yep.
Because he's gone now. I
And-
don't know why I said it like that.
No, 2008, he was 70.
rest in peace.
I love that they went to Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, and
and
good.
recorded Stephen Hawking.
That's pretty cool. I thought it might have been like just an actor.
Just
Use
the
a
voice.
computer. But they actually went, which means he just has
What
an
about Hanson?
incredible sense of humour.
Did they get Hanson?
No, but they bought the rights to that song.
Okay.
One of the weirdest uses of popular music for
Just so they
Futurama.
could kill Hanson.
Yeah.
I'm sure Hanson would have loved to have been involved in that. When were they big?
A long time
Like
before
the
that.
late 90s or-
Yeah. Not a long time then. Yeah,
a
late
couple
90s.
of years. So
yeah.
probably just jumped the shark of Hanson. But it's
I
just
think
such
so,
a
yeah.
weird choice.
I think now it's because we grew up with the 90s, so we kind of know Hanson. But I
Yeah.
think if people are coming new to Futurama now, they might be a bit like, who are those weird long-haired kids?
I know there was like a
playing that
viral
music?
video from a couple of years ago that had Hanson back doing Mbop again, and they just look
Oh, really?
very different.
Yes.
All have short hair now.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with Terra at 500 feet?
To the What If Machine, the first question is asked by Bender. Bender wants to know, since that he's never been accepted at parties or public spaces or nudist beaches, he would really like to know what it would be like if he was 500 foot tall.
Not if he was human.
No.
Which
Well,
we get
we get
later.
the next
We
one,
get
the next,
later,
yeah.
which is great in itself. But that turnabout's really cool. That little subversion of expectations. And so an army of benders create a giant bender, and he comes to Earth
With what simple dream?
A simple dream, killing all humans. So he goes on a rampage. They create a giant Dr. Zoidberg to fight him in kind of an homage to Godzilla movies.
Yep.
And then Zoidberg somehow unpredictably defeats him and he dies. And along the way he makes friends with Fry, because Fry and Bender will always be friends.
Very
Always.
depressed, sad Fry in this future. 'cause
Yeah,
he doesn't have a friend.
He tries to make friends with a duck.
And it gets crushed to death. It only bites him, and then it gets crushed to death. So many people die.
Yeah,
Thousands die.
Thousands.
None injured.
Yeah.
None injured.
The whole point of the writers talked about the reason they wanted to do this is, even though they're a sci-fi show and they can do outlandish things, they want to see how they can push the envelope, generally with characters. So there's like a trope in each one of these segments, and this one was the Futurama trope of taking an existing property or an existing idea, i.e. the Godzilla movies, the monster movies, and just making an episode out of that, which I thought was really interesting as well. It's kind of their visual segment.
Yeah.
So
It also
the
feels
idea
a little like, is it Iron Giant? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little Iron Giant, and that particularly the ending with Fry going, this misunderstood creature, that's very, very Iron
I
Giant.
was trying to think, is there not I from something where he says, who out of us is really the giant murderous robot?
I
Not
swear it's
I.
something I can't think
Yeah.
of.
Not
I thought we should look that
I.
up.
Also, as a note, Fry quoted Shakespeare.
Good night, sweet prince. He says,
I love that Fry knows that.
He probably saw it on TV once. That's all he knows.
So I guess it's King Kong, it's Godzilla movies,
Yeah.
it's all sorts. Particularly the monster versus monster is very Godzilla.
Yeah.
Gojira.
It's like we must make a bigger monster to fight this monster.
Yeah, we need a guinea pig.
Yeah.
And the guinea pig is to lure in Zoidberg.
And he eats
What?
that guinea
Friends,
pig up
help
so
me.
quick.
A guinea pig tricked me.
Does Zoidberg die in this? I mean, he gets boiled and comes out, but like,
Yeah, no,
you,
he's
you
fine.
don't see him again. So
No, he's just huge, I
Yeah,
guess. For the
okay,
rest of that
just huge.
timeline,
Yeah.
he's just huge Zoidberg.
So
There's
what-
no de-supersizer.
But who do they get? Do they make a giant nibbler to fight him?
That would be great.
Because
I would
nibbler
love
would,
that.
he wouldn't even need like a giant one. He'd need like a leg-sized nibbler, and he
to
would
eat
eat
him. Of
Yeah,
course.
he'd just eat him. Or maybe he died in the water and they ate him.
Yeah, he's already been parboiled, right?
I just got a weird sense of they were making an Iron Man reference before Iron Man had come
I know.
out.
I saw that. That's what
Yeah,
I thought.
yeah.
Did they just know it's 10 years before the movie came out?
I think like John Favreau must have been like, no, I like that. Yeah.
So
I
you got
think
a
it's
giant-
just them making a joke, like a
Yeah.
funny,
Well-
like it's an Iron Man.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
Iron Man. So they have Bender flying through space in the 3D model, and the Iron Man song is on.
Yeah.
And he's going,
Dun-na-na.
that's just
Dun-na-na.
what?
Yeah. It's like I get to see this a few years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Futurama predates.
Yeah, predicted the future.
Iron Man.
Plagiarism from Iron Man. There. This one's full of little visual gags, which are fun. They spit off a bridge, and so like Fry's loogie lands on someone's windshield,
yeah.
and then
Bender's oil
Bender's
spill.
huge oil spill makes hover cars spin out for no reason. They're hovering. It does land on them. They have biplanes.
That reminded me of like, not exactly biplanes, it felt like Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow.
Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
That's kind of felt like to me.
I think it's just a straight.
That's like throwback as well.
Zoidberg uses the bridge as a catapult.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really fun visual
The animators
gag.
just had a whole heap of fun with how they can animate cities being destroyed.
He picks up all those...
Zoidberg using the train as a nunchuck.
Yeah. Flicks them all the people and they all just fly to their deaths.
And then one of the tubes Bender uses as a spit.
Yes.
A
blow dart.
Also, at least in this timeline, Bender uses oxygen. Like, he breathes.
Yeah.
He sort of talks about his last breath, doesn't he? Yeah.
But he also had to blow into that tube to make the people go out. So
Yeah.
he visibly took his last breath. I'm like, does Bender need oxygen?
This one does. This giant one does.
So what if machine?
He's got a butthole, shoots flames out. That's how he launches off the
Yes.
planet and comes to Earth. Do they
So
just show a
classic.
real close-up
I
with
know.
this giant hole from his butt?
When Zoidberg comes out of the hot boiling...
I think it's the Rose Bowl or something.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl or whatever it is. Fry said, do you want to make some Shrinky Dinks? What are Shrinky Dinks?
Look it up. Someone look up Shrinky
I'm assuming
Dinks.
it's an American reference.
Yeah, he's got looks like clear contact and some markers
Crayons?
or something. Yeah.
Shrinky Dinks are children's toy and activity kit consisting of large flexible sheets which, when heated in an oven, shrink to small, hard plates without altering their colour or shape.
They don't seem that interesting.
No.
What I'm looking at.
What do you do with them? Do you mold them around stuff or something?
They're an 80s thing, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Shrinky Dinks kit.
And
What is this? I never
But do
had
you,
them as a kid.
melt them around a thing to make a fun shape or something? Or?
I don't know. I mean, this is not good for an audio podcast, but I'll show you the photo there. That's apparently butterfly Shrinky Dinks.
Yeah, I don't understand the.
Oh, you
appeal.
shrink them over the butterflies?
I think they are the butterflies.
I mean, it's just a very random thing for Fry to want to do.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
great.
Maybe they were really big back then.
In the 80s, they were.
Oh, but this is
Or you colour them in and then bake them, and then you have like a little
maybe it's like a
rectangle
Maybe,
of a thing.
maybe it's a little joke for them because like it's a Shrinky Dink. It's being shrunk. Bender's being enlarged, and they're like, oh, that's a little funny thing that no one's going to find funny. But hell, maybe that's something he misses from the past. Everyone's got their books up to their faces.
Yeah, I'm trying to find any more from this. It's quite a simple little.
Yeah.
It's a very
fun
simple
plot,
one.
isn't
It's
it?
like
Yeah.
probably my least favorite
Agreed.
of the three-parters.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I just didn't think there wasn't... Besides the visual, the fight, basically,
Yeah.
it's all there for the Zoidberg.
I kind of find them to be like that. Is kind of like a Godzilla movie. You like the fight, everything else is
Yeah.
utterly.
There's a few little
mediocre.
a
little things.
few little
It's-
gags, like where Zoidberg says, "Oh, 2 meals in 1 week," because he's poor.
He's
It's nice to see the animators getting to have a little bit of fun about how they construct that fight. Zoidberg using the slingshot.
Breaking smashing the Apollo Theatre because he got booed off stage.
And the bank because they denied his credit card application.
I like it. They make Zoidberg to defeat because they need a even more equally large creature to defeat him, and he immediately just destroys stuff himself.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
and there
work.
goes another neighborhood.
He doesn't help really
No,
much at all.
Bender's a hard one to fight, and Zoidberg would not help.
Yeah, he's
Worst choice.
just surprised he wins.
I'm happy to get anything that has Bender and Zoidberg paired together. It's still my dream team
Yeah.
that I want to have.
It
do
is
more.
the Dream Team episode. We want to see them hang together, be best friends.
Yeah, we want to see them hang out. Like a bottle episode with them stuck together. This
Yeah.
is not that.
Should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my favorite writer, Ken Keeler, doing dial L for Leela. So Leela, also using the what if machine, she says, what would happen if I was just a little more impulsive? Just a little bit, not too much.
The tiniest bit.
Not too much. So Leela gets crazy and gets a new pair of boots with a green stripe, which I wish she would keep because I do like them. I thought it was really cool. It's like that green jacket she gets that she doesn't
I do
wear.
like, her captain's jacket.
Or the one time where she wore a green singlet for that one episode and then
Yeah.
never brought it back. No one really pays attention to her. They're more focused on Fry putting a turkey on his head, being impulsive. Farnsworth lets her know that she's going to be the inheritor of his fortune because she's boring and predictable, and so Leela kills him. Gets a taste for that, starts killing all the people one by one. They go into the parlor room.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah.
parlor, which is the only time we ever see the parlor.
You needed it though, because like Zoidberg's gone like full Sherlock. So it's like you need a parlor room to like, who did this? I believe-
Zoidberg is afoot.
And it comes down to basically Fry and Leela, to
Yeah.
which Leela basically just has sex with him
keep him quiet.
And that's basically the episode, really.
Yeah, we can point out the pun, I guess, that is the section's title. Dial M for murder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious. Agatha Christie?
Yeah, Agatha,
Or is it...
Dial M for Murder, Agatha Christie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was reading that book during a play.
Right, okay.
I had to bring a book on stage, so during the rehearsal period and then during the performances, I would just read a couple of pages a night. But I would actually read the book.
You actually be reading it, yeah.
So it was a good book.
Is it to do with the last will?
I didn't get that far.
Right.
Got about 20 pages in.
Right, okay, sure.
What do we think, guys?
Probably my favourite of the 3 mini episodes.
This is so fun.
Yeah, I know. It's like just a little bit of impulse, and she just constantly tries to kill people.
Yeah,
Like-
even the setup for like, oh, we're gonna get her to ask a question, and to show how impulsive Fry is, he makes cereal on his head,
and he's like cutting a
Bender
banana.
egging
go, man, go! I love that. It's so good.
What I like about this episode is we're taking all these characters a little bit to the extreme, but it's totally in keeping with their character.
Yeah.
Leela is kind of one step away from murdering everyone.
Everyone gets on her nerves.
Yeah.
At some point or another.
Bender would be okay with murder.
Oh, he'd be fine with it.
He
Yeah.
already killed the greetings card like an episode
Yeah.
of. Zoidberg is wonderfully ignorant,
Yes.
despite believing he's fantastic. It's just all
And
really
Amy's
brilliant.
still,
Hates.
yeah,
Has a dig at
horrible
Leela.
comments. It's like, you look so hip and sexy, not like you at all. You got any gum?
That's when she comes in the Bender go-kart.
Yeah, the Bender go-kart.
It's great.
Which is awesome.
Great visual joke. It doesn't when she presses the horn.
Yeah, Bender's voice. Honk, honk, honk.
You've killed me. And it was like, oh my god, what have I done?
I told you. You killed me.
Having man-eating anteaters, that was going to go well.
That leave everything of his except his glasses and his slippers.
Yes.
Otherwise, just skeletons.
Skeleton.
And his lab coat. Yeah.
We get the introduction of Scruffy as a speaking role.
When was he first in the show?
He's been in various jobs elsewhere.
Right,
He's
just in
kind
the
of peppered
background.
through. This is probably his 5th appearance.
Yeah.
He's just never talked, and he's now just a part of the Planet Express.
Yeah, he's just there.
Because what did Leela say is like, I've never seen you before. Scruffy, never seen you before neither.
I love Scruffy. He's such a cool guy.
He's so chill. He's a relaxing guy, doing his job.
There are also just tons of fun lines in this. Point outs like Hermes is looking through all of the professor's documents.
Yeah.
And he's got all these citations for public nudity.
Yeah.
And Professor getting naked. It's like this cool running gag.
I wonder if they were all like videos as well.
Yeah.
Which just means that Farnsworth was lying because he said, oh no, he was just saying that, oh, your sense of modesty is outdated. And he just takes
Yes,
said
really.
brisk, which clearly he just does all the time. And society says, no.
Well, maybe because like there's so many collapses of society. Maybe he was alive during a society where it was okay. Because remember, like later on, he'll say, or maybe he's already said, aliens have come and made all the most intelligent scientists breed, and everyone else like died.
Yeah, that was
maybe,
when aliens
maybe
attacked.
maybe that was like an already established rule.
He was
you could be
hoping,
naked.
he was
back
hoping
then.
aliens would force them to breed again.
Yes.
The forced mating.
Yeah, forced mating.
Hermes, when he's getting hacked up. What are you hacking up?
Is it my torso? It is
My precious torso.
He's like trying to crawl through the into like the next room, and then like Zoidberg's like, "Quiet, Hermes."
Yes.
And, like,
I'm deducing.
He's interviewing the anteaters.
I love Zoidberg as the world's worst detective.
Yeah.
It's such a good running gag.
I would watch a whole episode of Zoidberg being the detective.
It's another
Yeah.
spin-off.
Another spin-off.
Zoidberg Detection Agency.
They should just make that like a show. It'll be like Zoidberg and Bender run a detective agency in the,
Yes,
future.
please.
And
I was
Zo-
thinking
and-
either that or Zoidberg and Bender try a different profession every episode.
That'd be good,
It's like
yeah.
The Pretender. If you ever, that was a show from the 90s where it's a drama action, but he can just keeps inserting himself into different
really?
occupations to stay away from the law. Pretty much, I think was the.
Okay.
But yeah, just Zoidberg trying to be like a doctor or a doctor,
he's always trying to be a doctor,
like a lawyer.
Yeah. I'd watch that. It'd be a good show. And then like Bender could just be trying to rip everyone off the whole time.
Yeah, trying to make a profit.
Yes.
Not about the profit.
It's not about helping the peoples.
She has that squinty look whenever
I
she's
love
going
the
to kill
squinty
someone. Her eye just narrows.
And like it was a good change at the end. Like when I remember when, like first watching it, where he just like instead of oh no he's gonna kill Fry, nah, just sleeps with them.
Yeah.
They casually eat Zoidberg, which I think is
Yeah, I mean this is so that means like, it's the second time that Zoidberg was boiled in this
this
episode.
Does it happen? No, it doesn't. Damn. I was hoping it happened in the third segment, but no.
They should have done it. Yeah.
And the only way Zoidberg can actually figure out that it's Leela is that Bender sends a posthumous
Yeah.
letter.
True Jerkberg.
Jerkberg.
She turns off the light. There's the scream. I really like it. What the hell was she doing to him?
I don't know.
Better left your imagination.
Yeah, that's for us to decide. But yeah, I love the lights off, lights on gag.
Yeah, and
Just
the fact that
everyone's being piled up.
everyone's being impaled on a sword, but in a really weird order.
It was Cubit, then she took the sword out, put Scruffy in, and the sword back in, then
Nibbler.
took the sword out with Scruffy, put
Yeah, yeah.
Nibbler there.
So she picked up the sword with Scruffy still on it, put Nibbler on. And she
And
could
then
see-
re-stabbed Cubit.
yeah. And she could see perfectly in the dark. No one else could.
And it's also great to see that use of how they would have been using Cubit had they progressed with Cubit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, this is super obvious.
Yeah, it's like, guys,
Because where actually is he in the real world? Who knows?
placed back into suspended
Maybe
animation
go to
until he's
school or
needed.
something. But
School?
school, I assume.
guess, yeah.
I'm just going to say Mars
Making friends
University.
with Hermes kid, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Has Hermes kid been introduced yet?
No,
No,
no.
just La Barbara.
Who's
Wife.
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 Wife. That's all we get so far.
At the beginning, Bender said axe.
Yeah,
Oh,
I made
does
a
he?
note of that. He
But
did.
Farnsworth and Leela say ask.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
So they just forgot to keep it consistent because ask is not a word anymore. Axe is, I was like, oh, you're almost. Oh,
they did it
almost
once though. That feels weird that they wouldn't do it again on purpose.
I know, it was
I feel like
quite
maybe
strange.
they had it once and they weren't going to do it again.
I think they forgot.
It would have been a nice running thing to have all the way through.
Axe,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tiny moment in one early episode, so a lot of people might be like, why do they keep saying axe?
I want to bring back axe. We ever
Maybe
say
we should
we
just
have to
say
axe.
axe, yeah.
We have to say axe. There
I'll
you
ask
go.
you a question. What do you think about the third episode, which
Oh,
is
segue.
The Unfreeze of a Lifetime?
Go for
And in this, okay,
Yeah,
so
you're asking yourself.
I'm
because
asking
you're-
myself.
Because
Okay.
you're doing the synopsis.
Okay,
Hey,
well,
James, good segue, James.
Yes, I'll high five myself. Okay, so in this one, Fry's like, okay, so what if I didn't get frozen and sent to the future?
He doesn't ask it that well, though.
Yeah, no, he doesn't ask you that well.
What's his first question going to be? Oh, yeah.
What if Bender was really tall?
We already did that.
Yeah, but he wants to see it again. It was a good story. He likes it. I think it's probably the only one who likes it that much. Okay, so we're back in the year 2000. He didn't end up in the freezing pod, the cryo chamber.
Yeah.
He just bumps his head. We get Stephen Hawking being like, what is this? You've
But
seen a
why-
portal?
but, yeah, why is he interested?
Okay,
Because-
well, a portal appears into the future, a fracture in time and space, and they see
Hawking hole.
a Hawking hole. I'm doing a terrible explanation of this episode.
That's
I'm
all right,
sorry,
keep
I'm
going.
butchering. I'm all over the place. Fry sees the Planet Express crew in this hole and then disappears. Then he's like, oh, okay. He's just talking about it in the pizzeria. Stephen Hawking being in a pizzeria, completely unbelievable.
as
Hawking in this episode is just weird. It's
Yeah.
such a weird cameo.
But yeah, Hawking is like pretty scared about this, or pretty concerned. A fabric of space and time being ripped, and gets in Al Gore.
the vice presidential action team.
Which includes I can't remember the names. The
Nichelle Nichols,
Michelle
Gary
Nichols,
Gygax,
Gary Gygax.
and Deep Blue.
Deep Blue, the chess playing,
and
machine.
Stephen Hawking himself.
Yes,
and they
yes, all
inexplicably knock him out
With tennis
rackets.
Not sure what the reference
The
is there.
weapon of the year 2000.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think it is any reference. I think they just think
Just
it's fun
nice, yeah,
to
little
beat
tennis
him
rackets.
with
It was
That's
a
why
nice
we
little
needed to
visual
beat you with
gag where you
tennis
can,
rackets.
you can see the tennis rackets in the silhouette. Where they're trying to figure out why this event occurred, and maybe they have to take him back there and maybe kill him. They're pretty adamant on killing
killing him. Yeah, because
So they're good
they
at.
think the universe is going to be
Yeah,
destroyed.
like
if
he
they
was
don't
supposed to
fix it.
die at that point, and he didn't. Obviously, the bump on the head was supposed to kill him at that moment. So, and they were like, killing is all we're good at. But it wasn't that. He had to go into the cryo chamber, which they give him a level, what was it, a plus
A
one
plus
mace?
one mace.
Plus one
Which
mace,
which Fry then smashes the glass of the cryo
Because
chamber.
Fry's going to fry.
I don't know why they couldn't just chuck him into another one. I guess it had to be
think
that
they're all
one.
Had to be
full,
that
maybe.
one.
Basically destroys the universe.
Which
and
is a
they end
great
up in
ending.
nowhere.
No one else. It's just the presidential,
yeah.
vice presidential action team, and they decide to play
Dungeons
and
and Dragons
for the next 8 quadrillion years.
Was this you saying like actual guest stars came on? So Al Gore?
Yes.
Is
Was
that
this-
actually Al Gore?
That was actually
Oh,
Al Gore.
what a champ.
They went to his house.
Oh, what a
So
shame.
was this
he actually vice
after
president?
the election?
This was when they replayed this episode, it was during the election period.
Really?
So
Oh
this
my
is
God.
just before he's running.
So
He
he's
could've
wanting
won,
to be
man.
vice president, or
He's wanting
he
to
has
be-
been vice president.
He's
he
been
was vice
re-elected
president
for Bill
under
Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
And then he
at
ran
this
against
point he's-
George Bush.
Because if you look at the credits for this episode, because he appears on Futurama 4 times, and he's stated that Futurama is one of his favorite TV shows.
Right.
His daughter, Kristen Gore, was a writer for Futurama.
Oh, okay.
She
Yeah,
wrote
yeah.
one episode episode.
Yeah, so he just loves it. And
he's
so
like
when they're
a-
like, do you want to be on? He's like, yes, I do.
Yes. But he's credited as Vice President Al Gore.
Yeah, okay.
For
So
the first appearance. And then when they replayed it, you know how you have the little subtitle at the beginning? So you see Futurama and it'll say like, you know, made by Slurm or whatever. When they re-showed the TV episode, it said something like starring our future, maybe, sort of, president, maybe.
spoiler, no.
No. Sadly, George Bush won.
Yeah.
They talk about
How good those days seem now.
I know.
They talk about how into it Al Gore got when he gets ripped into the wormhole. Al Gore like screams and he's like going, ah! And the way he would do that is when they were recording him at his house, he would actually throw himself onto the couch. So he talked about the absurdity of seeing the vice president screaming and just running onto his couch.
He really takes the mickey out of himself as being sort of a boring dude as well, which is really fun.
And it'll be the end of the world as we know it. And as an environmentalist, I'm against that.
This is really kind of this having fun with characters.
Yeah.
It's less of a rip on any kind of particular trope or kind of science fiction story, I think.
It's kind of the trope of cameos.
Yeah. I
How
guess,
many weird people can we throw?
Yeah, let's get Uhura in her costume with her earpiece doing Uhura things. She's always like, I'm getting a message.
Yeah.
That I should murder you.
She has a stab at convention goers. It's like, oh, this is the Pasadena convention all over again.
An eternity with nerds, yeah. Gary Gygax obviously uses dice for everything.
Yes,
to decide
for
everything.
Yeah.
It is a pleasure to meet you.
That pause was Sean rolling dice, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. I can get the dice upstairs. No, we'll do it in post.
Yeah,
It's all
in
good.
post. It's fine.
And I think the idea with Hawking trying to put his name on everything is because he came up with Hawking radiation, which is what black holes emit.
Right.
So yeah, I think it might be a bit of like, yeah, he just slapped his name on that thing that he found, and so he wants it to be a Hawking hole. And
It's just so weird how much of a sense of humor he actually has. He's been on The Simpsons, Star Trek, I think. He was in Futurama, Conan. It's just very strange.
they have fun with his wheelchair in The Simpsons, where it has like a helicopter and
That's
stuff.
right.
And in this, he uses it to like try and murder Fry. He just runs over his
running
face.
him over.
Hold him down.
Just runs him over like 3 or 4 times.
And this is the first time Al Gore's appeared on any TV show ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Okay.
now
What a coup.
I don't know.
Love it.
It kind of feels like pretty progressive for like a politician, one that's going to be running for
Potentially,
president, to kind of like embrace television and TV shows and want to be on it. And
It's happening more and more.
yeah,
though.
these days it's
Yeah,
very much
yeah,
like
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
on politics, you're on all the late night shows, you're trying to be on comedy shows, get in there,
In
down
places-
with the kids.
In
and-
South Korea, they're using Overwatch and stuff as part of political
Really?
adverts
Oh,
and
really?
stuff. Yeah. It's really because online gaming and PC bangs and stuff are so popular
Yeah.
in South Korea. They're mainstream culture. They televise StarCraft tournaments and stuff like that. So I think one of the latest candidates had like an Overwatch style play of the game introduction
Oh, really?
in one of her political adverts.
That's crazy.
It's becoming like a big thing, and we have the American presidents on Twitter and stuff like that. So
do we just?
yeah, it's a big it's a thing now. The popular culture is a place where politicians are emerging into, for
Social
better or
media.
worse.
Yeah.
Stay in politics. Get out of my pop culture.
I was talking about how each episode kind of has that Futurama type trope in each segment. You know, the first one's about the scenario. I think the second one is about the characters and really delving into character-based fun. Like, let's
And
just
also
take
murder
them
mystery.
one step further. And then this one is all about when Futurama has cameos.
Yeah,
When they
to the
have their
max.
special people. It's kind of, it's kind of nice just them playing with who that. Gary Gygax is such a weird get.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
But they just guess it's a team of nerds. It's a
Yeah.
chess computer and
The first computer to beat a human chess champion.
Yeah,
is what Deep Blue was.
Gary Kasparov, yeah. So, and computers are only just now beating humans at Go from then until now, I guess. So, if you don't know, Go is a ancient, I think it's Chinese, maybe it's Japanese. I think it's Japanese board game with white and black counters, and the idea is it's a much larger board than chess, and you can place counters anywhere, and the idea is to surround your opponents
Oh, okay, that sounds familiar.
and claim parts of the board for yourself.
Oh, cool.
And because it's such a complicated game, it took a very long time for computers to actually be better. And they theorized for a while, it's like, oh, it's too hard for computers. It's too intuitive. No, the World Go, like one of the Go masters recently was just resoundingly hammered in like a 3 or 4 game series, 3 or 5 game series by a Go playing computer. And there's a shot of him just like head in hands over the Go board, just like, oh no, this is beating me. So yeah, there's a little bit
Yeah.
of trivia to do with computers that play human games.
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think about this episode compared to the other two?
Well, I was going to say that's one thing we should. Well, before we get onto that vote, should we just talk about the real message of this episode,
Yes, the real framing device of the episode.
which is the thing longer?
The thing longer.
It's the professor using the what if machine to see what would happen if he'd made the thing longer.
Yeah.
Which would be a really interesting
Which poses
series
more,
of episodes.
It poses more questions. Like, did he not invent it, or did someone else invent it? And,
Yeah.
he's like, I really wish I had made that.
Yeah, I wish it was mine. Could he just not work out the specifics? Could he not get it to work?
No, you can't get it.
First, I thought, is he just seeing, is it worth doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he's like, no, he
Yeah, well, the
obviously
strange
can.
thing is, like, that means the computer knows what a thing longer is.
it knows everything. It knows everything.
It's everything you want it to be.
It's a pretty powerful machine, really, the what if machine that
Yeah,
can show you
yeah,
TV programs of any subject.
Farnsworth makes some incredible inventions. The
Yeah.
sniffer scope in itself is
Smelloscope.
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 Mine's the sniffer scope.
Yeah,
Scope.
I like that it's made of pure gold.
Yeah.
Just puts it in the
he puts
trash.
It's not worth the gold it's made of.
But I think the first thing we need to do is we should vote on which is the best segment.
But rank these three. I think the middle one personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
middle
Dial
one.
Alpha Leader.
It's one,
Two,
3,
two,
2, 3,
3,
1.
1.
2, 3, 1, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
everyone
pretty
agrees.
Oh,
easy.
consensus.
Yeah.
It's like pretty easy to
Yeah.
pick that. Yeah.
Not that the first segment is bad.
No.
It's just more visual. And so
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
as character based. It's not as,
Yeah.
quite as funny.
And the second thing we need to do is compare this episode to Mother's Day, which is the current reigning champion.
Well, it's not gonna. It's not gonna win.
Yeah, it's a fun Tales of Interest,
Yes.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't hold up against a full episode.
It's
Yeah.
it's a tough one because you're pitting one story up against three stories,
Three
and those
stories.
three stories aren't
They're
really.
throwaways.
Yeah, they're throwaway. Like one's pretty good, two's and the third one it's still enjoyable. You really need like three full really stories
Yeah.
that you love, and they got to make a hole.
Yeah,
That's
fry
tough.
hole.
Fry
Yeah,
hole.
they got to make a big fry hole.
Mother's Day is our current reigning champion.
Yeah,
that was the easiest one of those segments
It's,
ever. I think.
yeah,
I
it's
think we
very
did
easy.
both of those votes quicker than we usually do one vote.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like if we were doing like a Simpsons versus a Treehouse of Horror, that would be a lot harder.
Yeah,
'Cause they-
especially a lot of the first 6 or
They
7
have some
there.
really,
They have really
solid.
inventive
Each
stuff.
each like part is just as good as the next.
I think they stand out more in The Simpsons, as we were saying,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't normally go that. They can't be
It
that
feels this
unconventional.
event where it's like it's Halloween. We get this, and like there's no rules anymore. Anything
Yeah,
can happen. They can
Yeah,
parody anything they
zombies
want.
and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, yeah.
Where this is kind of like, oh, we got a TV and we're gonna kind of have something we can do anyway.
The way Treehouse of Horror works now is just random episodes with nothing really tying them together. Whereas with those first few Treehouses of Horror, they did have that framing device.
Yeah, it was.
They
It was
kinda-
like sometimes they're in like the treehouse and like Bart's telling the stories and they're each taking turns. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the origin of the idea that it's the Treehouse
Yeah,
of Horror.
Yeah,
Right. So-
which is kind of nice, and that's how Futurama at least does it. It's not just random. It's
Yeah.
their characters asking questions based around themselves, and we're like with the Bender one, it will tie into the next Tales of Interest too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's still smart, but yeah, nothing on Mum.
We need to do a voice.
I was thinking Scruffy.
Oh yeah.
What's the Scruffy line that we can do?
Scruffy never seen you neither.
In Scruffy's opinion, the killer was. It's kind of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nasty.
That's Cleveland.
Yeah, it's not quite cool.
He's
got that.
Scruffy knows who killed them people.
Wow, that's like a really like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, West Scruffy. Scruffy's a more monotone.
Oh yeah, Scruffy knows who killed them. I'm terrible.
Okay.
Voices.
That's all right.
Nobody
That's
wins.
the whole point. That's the whole
Yeah,
point. We're
yeah,
terrible at it.
Yeah. Opinion.
Opinion.
But,
In Scruffy's opinion.
No, we just need to welcome Scruffy to the fold, and for many more Scruffy moments to
We
come.
need a Scruffy story.
For some reason, whenever I think of Scruffy, I always think of him eating a plate of biscuits. I don't know when he does that.
That sounds
But
familiar.
I
I
think
just-
of him eating a can of something as well.
Yeah, I just see him with a
Yeah,
plate
yeah.
of cookies.
I wonder
We'll
if
have to,
we-
yeah, where he
Okay,
does
well,
that.
Make a note of that. We'll
We'll
wait
see
for
where
that,
it comes
yeah.
up. But I'm like, yeah, there he is.
It's interesting because I don't think there is a Scruffy central story in the original run, but there might be in the later.
Maybe.
It wouldn't surprise me if they branched out. And
Scruffy is really like some alien who's got like some
Or like a space hero,
Yeah,
like a
some-
veteran of the
yeah.
Space Wars or something.
or they kill Scruffy off.
Ah,
This is the thing, is that I know nothing about the new
kill
run,
Scruffy.
the Comedy Central
Scruffy
run.
hasn't got enough like emotional depth to
Kill
for
him
us
off,
to
yeah.
care. Like if he died, he'd be like, okay,
Scruffy's dead now.
That's sad.
Yeah,
but-
Scruffy dead. He dead. Speaking of Space Wars, this is totally not related to anything. Did you know JB Hi-Fi released like a package of games and a console? And it was with racing games. Do you know what they called it?
What?
Race Wars.
Okay.
And then like, pull the name. Ah,
That's
terrible.
yeah, I know. Idiots.
Oh, no.
I know. And on that note, I guess we should wrap up.
Yeah, you're welcome for that, everyone.
If you wanna comment to us about anything related to Futurama
Yeah.
or race wars,
If you want to ask us a question, please feel free.
babybeatmedia@gmail.com, or just pop into iTunes and give us a rating and a review. We'd really appreciate
Sure,
it.
hit us up on Twitter. That's
Axe
good
us
too.
anything you want.
Axe away.
Axe away. Also, next week we'll be doing
War is the H word.
with the guys from the One Good Thing podcast.
Morgan Thing,
So
yeah. So they look at movies and awful movies and decide what.
Find one redeeming
good thing.
quality. One redeeming quality. They did it for Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Somehow. So they love this episode. It's their favourite, so they're going to come and help us out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be up at the crack of dawn to do that because time difference is awful.
You're going to hear another British voice.
But yeah, until then, I have been Sean.
I've been Phil.
I've been James.
And we'll see you guys later.
See you
later.
I thought Logan was good performances, good. Like, I did wonder about the ethics of filmmaking with like having a 9-year-old murder ninja. She is entertaining, that kid, right?
Yeah.
Just murder screaming, got it down pat. Logan. You're like, yes,
Logan.
this is this kind of movie.
You know what the next role he's doing as well is, yeah?
No.
He's the poop
He's
emoji.
the poop emoji, yeah.
In the emoji movie.
The trailer's out, guys. Go see it.
I love listening to him talk about it because he's having a lot of fun just saying, I've prepared for this role my entire life.
He's really just taking the piss.
Pooped every day.
Taking a shit.
I pooped every day for 70 years.
Who's playing the Wii emoji?
Is there a Wii emoji?
I think so. I hope not.
How would you use it?
It's like the rain emoji, but it's yellow.
The random
Yeah.
Someone points out that seeing as R2 can fly in the prequels, he's a lazy shit later
Yeah.
on. Because they have to like lift him into Luke's X-Wing.
No,
They lift him up with a crane.
we're
He's
gonna
like,
get-
just fly, you lazy
We'll
shit.
get
How you doing, James? You good?
Good.
That sounded very condescending, but I was actually wondering.
Hey,
Hey, James, how you doing? You done?
You done?
You ready?
Good.
Huh? You ready, huh?
Huh? God's sake. I mean,
I can't wait till Evie gets here to replace you.